After a tricky trip to Rock in October of 2022, we were packed and ready to go once again. We managed a few fish last time, but they were very hard earned, and the highlight of the trip was a huge 170-pound cat, especially when it gave Matt a cheeky little tail slap during the photos.
Because you're like miles away.
Oh, I love it.
Film, right?
Yeah, I got that, yeah. Whack. Cheeky little backhander from the beast.
This time around, Jackie, Jay and myself had some new companions, however, and we were all very much looking forward to what was to come during the following week.
Right, well, here we are, heading into our first night at Rock Lakes. As always with travelling over here, it can be a bit of a long and tiring one, unfortunately, with the way we do things. I managed to get a good sort of solid 7 hours of sleep last night. We arrived here yesterday, probably around 12:30, I think it was, something like that. But prior to that, I'd been up since 4 o'clock on Thursday morning, so I've gone and done a full day at work, full 11 hours there, then headed over to Jackie and Jay's. We had a bit of dinner, loaded the van up, and then we left for the tunnel at around 11:20, I think it was, that evening. Bit of drama, unfortunately, on the old Queen Elizabeth bridge. Me and Jay and Mark and Sophie got stuck there probably for a good hour or so, I should imagine, which made things rather tight getting to the terminal on time, but somehow me and Jay managed it. Unfortunately Mark and Sophie didn't quite get there, but yeah, we got over. We hit France, what would that have been? It was a 3:30 crossing, so with the extra hour it was probably around about 5:10, I should imagine. We arrived here on Friday morning, and then it was a good sort of 6.5 hour drive down to the lake from there. But yeah, I say we're all set up and rod's out in the water now. I've already unfortunately lost a cat. I had an absolute screamer on my left hand rod. My middle rod it was. It's being fished under a tree right on the corner of the island to my left. had a little small carp live bait on there and it absolutely ripped off, but when I lifted the rod and pulled into it, there's nothing there at all. Didn't even feel it sort of bump out, so who knows what happened there. It was certainly a good take, but they have been very, very active out there this evening. A hell of a lot of tail slaps. It's quietened off a little bit now, I've got to admit. It was the first sort of hour or two after dark that it was really active. But I've got the little carp back out there. Thankfully that came back and was okay to go back out. I've got a roach on another dumbbell on my right hand rod, which is fished over towards some reeds on the right edge of the swim. On my left hand rod I've got a couple of pellets which I've just redone. So it's about 1 o'clock in the morning now, so I've just redone that, which should see me through till hopefully about 7 o'clock tomorrow, or well, this morning, once I've had a bit of sleep. So I'm going to get my head down for a bit, fingers crossed for a bit of action in the night. If I don't see you through the night, then I shall see you tomorrow morning at some point. And with how lively the cats were out there tonight, I think tomorrow is all going to be about trying to get as many live baits as we possibly can throughout the day, because I really would have liked to have had my other rod on a live as well, the way they were smashing about. So yeah, I'm going to get my head down, keep my fingers crossed for a first night fish, and we'll go from there, and I'll show you a bit more of the lake, what I'm doing, where I'm fishing, at some point probably tomorrow or throughout the week. So I shall see you in a bit, and keep those fingers crossed. Well, there's the first one. It's not an overly big one by this lake standards, but it's got us off the mark. It was on the little carp that got repositioned. I'd imagine it's probably low 30s, maybe something like that. High 20s, low 30s. But right, going to get this one popped back. I think there's been 1 or 2 caught over the other side as well recently, so hopefully they're on it, and we'll have a few more tonight. It's a nice start. go. First daytime cat here from Rock. It's just gone just shy of £48 this was. I had another one last night as well, but that was only probably 30, same sort of size as the first one, maybe a slightly bit bigger, but that went through one of my other lines, so I unhooked that in the water and just let that go. But hopefully they'll start feeding through the day now and we can get a few more on the board. There's been a few caught up the other end. I think 121 so far has been the biggest to my knowledge, which Mark had. But it's fishing steady, but we're all sort of hoping it kicks off a little bit over the next day or two. So I'm going to get this one popped back, get the rod back in the water, probably refresh the other pellet rod as well, and see what today brings. Jay!
At the sling then, or do you just want to pick it up in the sling?
Yeah, I'll just leave the sling in, but perhaps it's that down.
Do that down there?
Yeah, get it.
Alright,
Yeah, just trying to get my hand under.
got it.
Ready? I know. I'm on the wrong side.
Huh?
So I want to be around the other way, really. There you go. There we go.
Oh, hang on.
Or not.
Spin him over again. You ready? Go.
It's nothing to get hold of, is it? Right, after finding a few fish in a hole round to the corner, I put a nice lively carp on that I caught earlier today, and this one's just gone 148 with a sling, so I'll weigh that in a bit. It's probably around the 140 mark, I should imagine. And that's just made my week. I'm popping back in the water in a minute, get some photos, and let my arms have a rest. Oh,
And it was on my dumbbell.
and it went in Chris Brown's cat net.
Going to get some photos in the water.
Yeah, just snap a couple of quick ones on the bank, mate, just in case. And then I'll get in with it. Most important bit, along with the wet mats and slings, always pop a bit of the cat care in on the hook holds. Any sores and that you see on their body, especially around spawning time, just helps them recover a bit and stay in good condition for the next person. Right, I'll get it down in the water and see what happens down there, shall we? Could be interesting.
That's it.
Yeah, on the right hand side of that light, mate, I think there's a little dial that should turn the light up a bit brighter. Top right hand side of the light. Spin it upwards. Or is that up the top?
That's it. 5,200.
Yeah, that's probably it then.
5,700, 5,800, 5,900.
Are you coming down as well, or?
Yeah, I can.
Yeah.
I'll be careful with your camera.
You should be alright if you've got your hand in that thing, right? Oh.
Who didn't have his
Bit of noodling. But you've never noodled 148 pound cat, have you?
I could fucking lift it better than you. Can you get it up?
Off my thumb. Right, that's all the still's done, and we'll let it get off. Hard work for, but well happy.
You're huffing and puffing a bit there, mate.
I am huffing and puffing a bit.
What are you going to do when you catch a big one?
I don't know, mate. You'll have to let me know when you do. You get my fine specimen of a body in, are you?
I ain't got a wide angle lens on. I got your 4 chins though, mate.
Have you?
Yeah.
You missed a couple then.
Oh dear. Here he is, world champion, Ryan Gibson. My arm hurts now, dear. Go on, get out of the water. Here we have the lesser spotted hippo.
Following up the rear, the lesser spotted tosser. Well, that's certainly up the average size of the fish for my week so far. The first 3 were, what was it, I think it was about sort of low to mid 30. The one that I hooked in the water that I guessed up towards the kind of £40 mark. Then that one this morning that was a few ounces shy of 48. Yeah, they're all great fish to catch, obviously, but we come here for the big uns, and thankfully I've just managed to get one of those on the board. There's a little bay sort of round to the left of the swim that I'm fishing in, and I did have a rod in there on the first night, but it was a little bit quiet. The first night they were ridiculously active out in front of like the main swim where I've got the other rods. So I decided to bring that round from the bay and have a go in here. But yesterday afternoon, yesterday afternoon now, I've been seeing a few fish in there. Seen a big tail going across, because it's so shallow in here. You know, in that bay it's only an average of about 2.2 foot deep, something like that. So I've been seeing these tails go across, and I'd seen them in the weed over the back of the bay as well. So once I got my rods out in the main part of the swim, I decided to have a bit of a recce round there in the boat, just to see whether I could try and present a live bait anywhere in there, because I had a nice little carp, probably about 3-4 pound earlier on, and I'd had carp on the previous couple of nights, but that's obviously resulted in those 2 smaller cats, and the 47 was on pellet. So anyway, I was having a bit of a recce around that bay, just to see what the weed situation was like, because over the back of the bay it's really thick weed up to the surface. So I just wanted to make sure I wasn't going to be putting a live bait in amongst any sort of under the surface weed at all. Luckily it was pretty clear everywhere, very silty on the sounder, but then I came across this massive great deep hole. I went for, well, not deep, but for in here it's very deep. It's sort of double its depth. It dropped down to just shy of 5 foot, and there was at least 3 or 4 very catty looking shapes, shall we say, sat just sort of about halfway up this hole with their heads up towards the surface. So rather excitedly I decided I was going to go and get one of the other rods and pop that in there with that little carp on. Had it on one of the R&R dumbbells, and it was only probably out there hour and a half, something like that. I didn't put it right in the hole, I put it just on the edge of the hole, so when they sort of come up and out and hit feeding mode, they couldn't miss it really. You know, just sat outside sort of taking in the sights and sounds of the evening, watching a few fish move out in front, hearing all the frogs make a right racket over the back in the weed. And I heard a big old swirl from my left, followed by a couple of bleeps on the alarm and an absolute screamer. So absolutely flew over there as fast as my legs could take me, and yeah, you just seeing the rest on the footage I managed to capture. So I've got that back in there again, again up on top of at the top of the hole, and there's still cats in there. I heard one smash as I was putting the bait out. I've got a little small cat on it now, and he's working away lovely, so I'd be very surprised if I woke up in the morning and that's not gone again. But it's just gone midnight now. It's about 1:45, so I'm going to get my head down, because it could kick off at any point on here. Yeah, I see the boat going back and forth opposite over in Jackie and Jay's swim. They've had quite a few fish over there. I don't know what they've just had, but before that I think it was I'm sure Sean had a 128, I think Jackie had it was either 119 or 109. Jay's had one over a ton as well. Mark has had a new PB at 121, so we've now all had a £100 plus fish each, and there's been a few more numbers coming out up that end, but I'm really made up with what I've had now. 4 fish, lost 2 unfortunately, just pulling out of them on the strike. I say up to £140 at the biggest, so fingers crossed it keeps going well. So I'm going to get my head down now if the cats allow it, and hopefully we'll see you at some point again before the night's out. just on the way round to Carly's to have a bit of a social and a barbecue tonight. It's been very, very quiet in all honesty this week. Been a bit tricky, the fishing. I think there was only one fish out last night. Jackie had I think it was an 80 something, Jay said. All quiet up my end. Mark lost one on a carp live bait. Nothing for Jay, and Sean missed one as well, I think. So yeah, we're just all kind of waiting for it all to kick off a little bit, which hopefully it will do before we head home. I mean, we've all had a ton plus this week, so we can't complain too much. It'd just be nice to get a few more numbers before the week's out, but we've got 3 nights to go. I say I'm on the way around to have a bit of a shower and a clean up, freshen myself up, and have a barbecue, which will be nice. And then hopefully tonight they might be a bit more active. There's quite a bit of wind on the water at the moment, so whether that will stir them up or not and get them feeding, we shall have to wait and see. But they certainly can't get a lot slower than what it is at the moment, if I'm honest. But I shall probably catch up with you later once I've got the rods back in the water. Hopefully we'll have a fish to show you tonight. And I'll go through all the rigs and everything that we've been using while we've been down here as well. Just for you guys that are coming over here that may be interested in them. I shall carry on with my walk and see you all in a bit. Right, well, as you can see, I've just dropped my dumbbell back off where it went from last night with that 140. And what I'll do is I'll just drive the boat past, because that's on the left hand edge of the hole, and you'll be able to see what I'm fishing alongside on the sounder. So I'll just zoom out on here a second. So that is pretty much alongside where the dumbbell is now. So we've got about 2.5 foot or so there, and then you're just coming into the hole here, and this drops down to about 4. There they are, look. Maybe you can see that in the bottom there. That is either one very, very large cat, or 2 or 3 sort of sat together. But they're in the bottom of the hole, which is, let's have a look, where's that sort of showing? Yeah, that's about 4.5 foot deep in the bottom of the hole there. And I say my bait is just up around this kind of area at the top of the hole. So fingers crossed, once the sun starts setting, which it's getting pretty close now, we've probably only got another 1.5 hours or so of light. Hopefully I'll hear another almighty great splash over this corner here, and we'll get whatever it is that's sitting in the bottom of that hole at the moment. Right, that's another carp snaffling possible scraper 30. Not really what we were wanting out of there, to be honest, but that's another fish on the board. That's number 5 now, I think, for me. It seems quite active out there tonight as well, so hopefully it's not the last of the action. But I'm going to pop this one back, and I've got a little cat to get back out there now in the hole, so hopefully that'll do the job and grab us another one before the night's out. Right, let's pop her back. Well, we're going into our last full day here at Rock today. Last night was very quiet again. I didn't even get a take on my dumbbell last night. The little cart was working really well in that hole, but there weren't any cats in there when I took the boat over to drop it yesterday, and although I did hear a couple of bits of movement in there last night, there's just nothing happened. But it's still working away. So you never know, it might go at some point today. I'm going to have a full day with the rods out as well, because I've not had the rods out during the day for, well, probably since Monday I should think it was, because I've been so sort of intent on going around and trying to catch live baits. You know, the actual fishing during the day on the cat rods has been a bit neglected. But there's been a bit of movement out there this morning, so I've just redone 2 of the rods. I shall leave the little carp out, and hopefully he'll go. And I just thought I'd take you through the rigs that we've been using down here. So as a sort of starter, we've got a metre of the Cat Pro sinking tubing. And on that we've got one of their big XXL ceramic rum rings. There's loads of room in between the tubing and the inner wall of the ring, so it runs nice and smoothly, and that's just connected to a big 8-ounce flat pair gripper lead. On the end of that tubing I've actually got a Mad Cat anti-tangle sleeve, which is pushed into the end of there, with a 10mm bead pushed over the top of that, so that tubing's not going to pull off and pull away and end up exposing the mainline braid at all. You know, that's really well on there. That's not pulling off at all. And obviously the bead just helps that rum ring from dropping up over the top of the swivel up towards the hook. Inside that anti-tangle sleeve there's one of the 180-pound power swivels, and that goes on to some of the Zek snag leader. This one is a 0.8mm. I can't remember the breaking strain off the top of my head, but it's a 0.8mm, really nice, strong, abrasion resistant braid, and that's down to a Mustad Hoodlum 4X in a size 8 toe I've got here. Obviously crimped the barb down as well, because it's a barbless only rule on here, and then that's just got a little quick link on it, with some of the little adjustable bait stems that we're using. Holds all the pellets nice and close together, so it helps stop the water getting inside them. Yeah, we've tried these with like 2 28mm on the bottom, 2 28mm with a little sliver of pop-up like you can see there, 21mm pellet, 3s and 4s. It's we've tried all sorts this session, dead baits, and we're really struggling, to be honest, all of us. There's only one spot that's been productive right the way through the week, and that's been one that Jackie and Jay have been fishing. They've sort of alternated throughout the week, and that's just to the edge of where Farmer Swim is. That seems to be the only one that's really produced the goods consistently for anybody, to be honest. So my live bait in the hole over there have been doing pretty well, but like I say, last night it was quiet. The night before that I had that little one somewhere in the 30s. But you never know, the weather's cooled a bit today, it's a bit more overcast. I've got a bit of wind blowing at my end, so I'm going to get these rods out, give it through till sort of 4:30 time when I've got to reel in and go around for dinner. And hopefully, oh, I've just had a liner on my right hand rod. That's a positive sign. There's definitely fish in this bay. Whether they're cats or carp is difficult to tell unless I see a big tail come out or something. But yeah, all we can do is try at this point. You know, we've all had a good fish. Everybody's had a ton plus, which is nice. But yeah, we would just, I think everybody would like to see 1 or 2 more good fish hit the bank at some point, either today or tonight, just to round the week off on a bit more of a positive note, because it's been a real struggle the last couple of days. So the start of the week wasn't great, but it's unfortunately it's gradually seems to have got worse, if anything. But that's what fishing is. You know, the guys the week before us, they had it off down here, which maybe is another reason why it's slowed up a bit this week. Maybe the cats just had a massive feed up last week and they're not really on it now. Who knows? But I'm going to get this rod sorted anyway, and chill out for the rest of the day and see what happens.
Sometimes like all you want to do is run. Hear me out, hear me out.
Right, that's a good start to the last night down here at Rock. I've not even finished getting the rods out, and the live bait rod absolutely ripped off over near the island. Actually, this one's probably, it's £40 plus, I should think, somewhere between low and mid 40s. So I've got a little carp to go out now, and then hopefully we'll have an even bigger one to show you later tonight. Just going to get a bit of cat care on its mouth. It's got a little bit of blood around the hook hole there, but that'll soon heal up in this warm water. And yeah, we'll get sorted for the rest of the night. Well, darkness has fallen on our last night down here at Rock. It's about 11 o'clock now, I think, so we've got probably, well, we've got 12 hours pretty much left before we've got to be packed up and away tomorrow. Yeah, it's been a tough week. I will admit it's been a very tough week on the fishing front, but we've all had a good fish each, so you know, that's one big positive we can take away from it. They do seem quite active out there tonight, so I had that one earlier just as I was getting the rods sorted for the evening, so that's a bit of a positive. Hopefully there'll be more at some point through the night. Yeah, I'm reasonably confident with where the rods are. I've put 2 in the little back bay now, and I've just got the one out in open water from the main swim. So we'll see what happens. There's a little carp working well over that deep hole. There was cats sat in that again tonight when I took the boat over it, so hopefully they will stay and have a go at him before the night's out. So there's another little sort of, it's not a massive drop off, but it drops down sort of a foot and a half. So I've got another rod in there, and that is on, that's a couple of eel heads with a little pop up on, just to try and keep it out of the silt, because it is quite thick silt in that corner there. And I say there's one out in open water, and that's got an eel head on as well. So yeah, we'll see what happens. But if nothing else happens tonight, I probably won't get back on the camera in the morning, because it'll be full on packing up, trying to get everything down and ready to go for off. But you know, with any luck, I'll see you again before we go, and hopefully it will be with another good fish. But I certainly can't complain. I've had 6 fish and lost a couple, and say that obviously that 140 is the pick of the bunch so far, certainly for myself this week. So yeah, it's been another good one. And the fish always mean a bit more when you're having to work as hard as we have for them this week. Oh, we're off. Well, what a gutter. You know, absolutely ripped off. Got to the rod and everything had pulled up tight. Dumbbell was gone, but the line wasn't going off the reel, so there was nothing powering away from the spot. Lifted the rod up and it just slowly started ticking away. Wound down, hit into it, and nothing was there, unfortunately. So my guess is it's probably a little small cat that's got hold of the bait and couldn't quite get it down. But you know, on the positive side, I've got the carp back. You know, he's looking a bit worse for wear, bless him, but you know, he's still got a bit of life in him, so it's back out there on that same spot again. Hopefully if it goes again, it will be something that just absolutely engulfs it, and we'll end up with a decent one on the bank before we go. But if I don't see you again, I hope you've enjoyed watching, and I'm sure we'll be back again one day in the future.
Unfortunately, there were no more cats for myself, but Mark managed the last night 52. Jay had 3 from the bay up to £76, and then Sean rounded the week off in style with one of the lake's really special ones.
Baby, you give me ice and fire. You're giving me wind and rain. You're some kind of butterfly. Baby, you give me midnight. You whip up my appetite. Don't leave me here high and dry. Oh, I don't wanna jinx it, baby.
Do you like that one? Look, that's the Freddie Mercury song. Look, your little Miss T. Here's the big dab, it's me. Oh, you got to put it on. You're the Mandarin King, isn't you? Ah, look!
King Freddie.
You whip up my appetite. Don't leave me here high and dry. Oh, but I don't wanna jinx it, baby. Let's not get ahead of my time. Oh, but I don't wanna miss you, baby. So I stand up and speak my mind. Oh. Baby, you give me ice and fire. You're chilling wind and rain. You're some kind of butterfly. Baby, you give me midnight. You whip up my appetite.